everyone, and welcome back to Chemical X. This is episode 24, Alessia's age. So we had a deal.
I'm older and wiser, so that's all.
By like 2 minutes. You're like, actually a whole year, bitch.
That's fine. Anything more than you is still something to be... It's still an advantage.
You're like one of those older boyfriends who starts saying... It's because you're young. You don't understand.
You
don't know. Like when you become my age.
Once you get there, you'll understand. And
once you've lived to be my age, then you'll get what I'm coming from.
honestly, sounds like everybody in my life.
Yeah.
Does it just sound like my
You know
my
what's,
boyfriend?
what's one thing though? I always remember when I was a kid. And do you remember when your parents would talk about something and then you'd be like, tell me. And they'd be like, we'll tell you when you're 18. And you'd be like, you'd be like, I'm not gonna forget this because I really want to know when I'm 18 what it is. And let me tell you, I forgot, and I still don't know anything to this day.
That you would care about.
But do you know what I mean though? It's like
My parents never did that to me.
what?
Never.
I think it's because I was always around. I was always around. Like I have a big family, like a lot of aunts and uncles.
What you're saying is that I have a big family and that I wasn't around.
No, I'm saying my aunts and uncles always hung out together, my parents. So like I feel like they're always shit talking, and I'm there
you
going,
had a very
tell
provocative
me.
family.
Yeah, and I'm here. I want to know, and they're like, bitch, sit in the fuck, go play your Barbies, and I'm there like, come on
Before I cut my Barbies with short hair.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I was ready to start a list, and when I turned 18, say, okay, well, I want to know what happened on July 1st of
1996.
Yeah. I was born. I actually wasn't born on July 1st, 1996.
It's true because you were a baby.
No, I was not existing. I wasn't born.
Yes.
I was born in December.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, you said I was a baby, but
I mean, like you were in the womb.
In the womb. I wasn't created yet. My little brother, we have like 7 years difference.
I always forget you have a brother.
I know. And I guess if you're listening, sorry she forgets you.
Well, if everybody knows of the Rossi, they know of Tanya or Veronica. They don't know about the other little minions running around.
So me and my brother had 7 years difference. So like a lot of stories I would talk about with my family, and like sometimes things would happen before he was born. So I always had this thing where I would say, you weren't alive yet. And it was like, he would always get really fucking pissed. I was like, no, you were dead then. And he was like, no, like you can't just say that. Like, no, you literally weren't living at that time.
Oh my God.
But I feel like when you're the younger child, and I feel like you would know this because you have a big age gap between your brothers. Yeah. It's a bit like,
because that was a mistake.
It's true. Mistake, Alessia.
Oh my God.
They gave you the last two brain cells left in the fucking womb.
Thanks, Veronica.
They said,
let him out.
She's good to go. We gave her what we could.
Cool.
Anyways, I just want to say that it's so fun when you have a boyfriend because, amongst other things, but every time my boyfriend gets like a new sweater, I'm like...
Are you saying to everyone who doesn't have a boyfriend, it's boring, guys?
Honestly, in quarantine, I don't know how you're doing it, to be honest. I always think like if I was alone...
Why do you think I got back from my ex? Okay.
I know many people that are running back to literally ex-boyfriends of years because they're going, ça marche pas. Like, do you know how many people I know that are saying, babe, I know it was 3 years ago that we stopped talking and it was for good reasons, but what's up? How you doing?
I honestly don't get that, though. I'm sorry. Like,
okay, desperate times call for desperate measures.
No, but I mean, like, you know how, like, there's so many people, it's happening to my friend right now. She dated this guy, then, okay, whatever, they broke up. It was 2 years ago now. She dated somebody else, okay, for another 2 years. Now they broke up. Now he's re-following her. Now he's trying. But it's like, babe.
That I never understood.
What are you doing? Like, you had a full-blown other relationship. You clearly realized you guys weren't for each other. You grew apart. And now you're sliding back in there.
It doesn't make sense.
For what?
Yeah.
For what? Like,
you're not going to learn anything else. The person rather be
alone than go back to you. Come on. Yeah. They have something to compare it to. After your ex, it's only somebody better. So why would they go back 2 years?
Backwards doesn't make sense. And you've already learned what you had to learn from this person. Realistically, what are you going back to do? His dick is still the same size. No new surprises in there. And even worse, like, I feel like the honeymoon stage when you get back with an ex is cut down to 2 weeks. Like, there's no...
Honestly, 2 minutes.
There's no... Literally, it's actually -3 minutes.
2 weeks is like, wow. Some people start a relationship, don't even get 2 weeks.
there's no fun stage of getting to know each other. It's like, so how's your crazy ass fucking mom? Like, let's get right back into it.
Literally. Am I
So
invited at this dinner or do they still hate me?
That's another thing. That's something about going back to exes. It's like, once you shit talk to your family,
It's done.
no, you can't start
It's
bringing
over.
them back. No.
If you break up with somebody, you gotta. I know so many people who don't even tell their parents because once you tell the mom, it's over.
Once
they ain't
your mom
welcome
knows,
back in that house.
Yeah, it's really the mom. It's once your mom knows you, it's done. I'm sorry. Even
well,
if
the worst part is you speak so much shit about them that it's like, honestly, like, how do you even get back?
but it's even when your friends go through like breakups or stuff, it's like you're trying so hard to make them get over it, and you're like, he was a fucking loser. This you start picking out anything you can to make them feel better about the situation, and then they get back together and you say, yeah, so whatever I said.
Yeah,
I
didn't mean actually.
I didn't mean that specifically.
Happy
I
to
just
have
meant,
you back in the family.
so good. We missed you so
Where
much.
were we?
It's like it's such a hard situation.
But like I guess I'll ask you first. So when you met your boyfriend, was he a good kisser from the start?
Yeah.
I feel like I put you on the spot there.
What am I gonna say? No, he's sitting right there.
Well, no. Some people they gradually like. Learn
I mean,
each
I
other's...
think that obviously the more you know how to kiss somebody, the better it is.
Yeah.
Because like you learn how to kiss everybody kisses differently, and I feel like
Gotta kiss a few frogs.
but I think definitely from the start he was a good kisser. My pet peeve is bad kissers.
It's the fact that he's here, so even if you were shit.
Well, no, I'm gonna ask you what you're gonna go say your boyfriend was a bad kisser when you first met him. Pretty sure you guys said I love you after 2 weeks. Couldn't have been the worst.
Yeah, no, he was a good kisser.
That's what I thought. I mean, realistically, I don't think I could date somebody
I think
who's a
that
bad
you
kisser.
changed your new word to realistically.
I mean, just trying to be a realist here.
But,
I don't think you can date somebody.
You don't date somebody who's a bad kisser.
It's because, you know what? It's not that they're technically bad kissers. It's just that they're not compatible with you.
Veronica, they're a bad kisser. They're bad in bed. It ends there.
It's just
you can't do the simple shit. It's over.
Kissing is like boiling the pasta water. Like, if you don't boil the water, the pasta's not going to cook. So if you can't kiss me properly, then sorry, but we're not having sex.
Sorry, then your mouth comes out not fucking cooked.
But anyway.
Because if you put in the pasta too early, what happens, Veronica?
It doesn't get cooked. So, but no, I definitely, for me, like being a good kisser is the main thing. But also, have you ever kissed somebody and they're such a bad kisser that you're like, wait, am I a bad kisser? Like, bad kissers make you a bad kisser.
Well, yeah, because you can't perform.
There's nothing to do there.
No,
you're like, excuse me, why are you taking away from my skills?
But I always know when, like, let's say I'm like kissing somebody and
let's say I'm just, casually kissing a boy.
I feel so immature this podcast.
It's probably because you're wearing blue fluffy boots. Blue, purple.
Let's say you're kissing somebody, like normally you know how good you could perform, right? So if somebody's bad, yes, you're showing them that you're bad because they suck and it's just not working. But I don't know, I leave there and I'm like, ugh, like it's not me.
No. I know that it's not me, but I also
We're
feel
also
like
defensive here. Somebody's got to take the blame.
But I also feel like it's a bit like, do they think I'm the bad kisser? Because no, sweetie, it's fucking you.
Yeah.
Like,
but then I'm like,
surely
if they've always
can
been kissing
it.
like this, is it because that's how they kiss and that's what's good to them? Like I'm confused.
But I don't get it. It's like, surely you can enjoy kissing like that. I've literally made out with fish before.
Yeah.
Like I know what it's like to kiss a fish.
Yeah.
I
feel like I had a
kiss me.
really bad makeout experience. And he was basically doing the Olympics in my mouth. And I was like, okay, calm down. Like, I didn't get to Olympics level yet. Like, what the fuck? And I feel like the trick about being a really good kisser is not trying to pull out every trick. It's to kind of like gradually move into like tongue and stuff. People who literally open their mouth, like,
you start saying, huh, huh, huh.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
what's your like worst thing? Like, what's your pet peeve of like somebody kissing? Like, what's
somebody
the worst
who
thing?
comes out straight with the tongue?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
If your
I don't
lips
even know
are
if I
not
wanna
touching
kiss
me
you yet. You're
first,
going to second base? I don't think so.
if your lips are not touching me before your tongue touches me, there's an issue. Like, If you're going in tongues hot, maybe change your approach. I also don't like somebody who's like too aggressive.
I think we say more of what we don't like here than what we like.
So just, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just cross off all the things we don't like, and then you have what we do like. Nothing. Don't kiss us at all.
Yeah.
No, but I hate somebody who's like too aggressive, who's like literally biting your face off. You're like, okay, we get it. You watched 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh my God.
50 Shades of Grey. Like, come on.
I
You're
like
not
a little like bite action and stuff, but I don't like when it's like.
Yeah, but there's people that are so excessive to prove that they're.
Yeah, like,
and I'm like,
all of a sudden, like.
I'm like, simmer down. You bit my lip. Ooh.
Doesn't
What, are you going to tie me to the wall? Like, I don't know. Like, we get it.
Okay, so your bad kisser was kissing like a fish.
I think I would say that was probably my worst kisser. Yeah,
I was there for that,
there was no,
so
there was
I was
no,
literally there for that, and she was going, Alessia.
I was literally like, get me away, because
Get
there
me
was
outta
no,
here.
there was no way. Like, I wouldn't even consider it
Yeah.
a kiss because I wasn't able to kiss.
Yeah.
It was like I was just being.
How do you teach somebody how to kind of like follow your lead in a nice way? Tips and tricks.
I think there's always, like, obviously if somebody's like not a good kisser, I think you can kind of make them like understand you more. And I think the way is just to be like, okay, like, slow down. Like, that's something that I would do is just be like, okay, like, slow down, like, take it slower, because that's majority of the time somebody who's a bad kisser is just like going too fast, like not recognizing the movement. So if you're doing something slowly, chances are they're going to be more like in control of their action. So if they're going slowly, they're kind of waiting for you to do a move. So it's very like, okay, let me like just.
Yeah. But if
like,
you say like, oh God, like chill, like you're. I feel like I did that to a guy once. I was just like, no, it's just like stop, like you're bad.
Would you tell them if they were a bad kisser?
I have.
No,
I literally have, because it's like. And then, when you're dealing with somebody who's arrogant, forget it. It's over. It's like, don't tell me how to kiss. And let me tell you, that was the last time.
I mean, I think I wouldn't say it just because I'm a bitch, but I just say
What
things.
do you mean? I'm the bitch.
No, I'm saying like I'm a pussy. Like, I wouldn't tell them. But I would just be like, oh, like, I don't really like tongue that much. Like, that's another thing. I don't like when people put their tongue too much in my mouth. I'm like, ugh. Like, unless I'm dating you, I don't want to taste your saliva to that extent. Like, if we're hooking up, like, stop. Yeah. Like, enough. You know what I mean?
It also depends. Like, if you're doing a little foreplay before sex, like, it really depends
It depends the situation, but you also need to gauge what you're doing.
Yeah,
you can't be in the club and somebody's trying to literally have
But that's how I don't understand how somebody could be a bad kisser, because technically everybody's different. So you just have to gauge and almost, like, change the way you kiss depending on who you're kissing.
I just
think that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's true though.
Yeah.
You balance off of what somebody's giving you, but I guess the bad kissers are just people who go in straight with their same technique every time and don't think about, like, have no rhythm to like, when the kiss is not going at the same time, you're like, hello, did you ever take a music class?
On the same side, and it's like,
what?
When they're both trying to kiss on the same side.
When you're double kissing at the cheek.
No, I can't. No, I mean, like, when you're going in, but you're not going in opposite sides.
Oh, I know what you mean. Honestly, I could go all day about kissing. Like, that's one thing where I'm very picky. But for the most part, I've, like, only kissed good kissers. But I'm very, like, know the situation. Like, if you're not good at kissing, then you're not good at anything else, because you don't know how to read another person. So how do you want to be good at pleasing somebody if you can't read?
Do you think if somebody's a bad kisser, you could teach them? Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think you want to get to that stage where you're a teacher? No.
Sorry. Also, no. I'm not 16.
Yeah.
Learn how to kiss.
Yeah.
Watch a YouTube video or watch this podcast.
We didn't really give any tips, though. We basically said what we don't want. No. We basically said, cut your lips off.
Just go slow. Honestly, if I can give one tip to guys and probably even girls, the best recipe for sexiness, for anything, for being seductive, for being pleasurable, the best thing that I could say is go slow. Because everything is better when there's anticipation. So if you think you're going too slow, you're not. Like, there is no too slow to be.
There's
anything
only
you do
too fast.
Yeah, there's only too fast. You can never go too slow. If anything, too slow is even more fun, because it's like there's so much like anticipation and you want more and you're craving more. You want to always leave that like hint of like trying to get more, you know what I mean? And sure, as things progress, like you can get more like fast, you know what I mean? But it's just like,
do you ever like
the key to sexiness is to be
do you
slow.
ever like suck on someone's tongue? You're like, yeah, my boyfriend's not random strangers.
Essentially.
I'm dead. You're like, yeah, in the bedroom, Alessia.
In the bedroom with my boyfriend. Some people are really grossed out by that though.
No. Really?
I don't know.
I feel like it's like,
I feel like some
for
people
a girl,
can
when you do it, it's like letting them know how you would suck their dick.
like a mom. Okay, cancel out.
You know what I mean, though?
Well, I hope their dick's bigger than their tongue.
Well, yes, but you're... Do you know what I mean, though, or no? Okay, because you're making me sound like a fucking 2-year-old.
I think it implies...
It lets them know what you're going to do down there.
It implies that you're ready to have a good time. I think the key to being good in bed is to actually like what you're doing. So if it's giving a blowjob, whatever, you have to enjoy it, or else it's gonna show.
But do you know how many girls don't enjoy giving a blowjob?
Literally 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's my statistic. I wouldn't know because I don't have a dick. So, but I just think you have to enjoy things for it to be enjoyable.
I feel like when I was super young, I really didn't enjoy giving.
I was afraid of dicks.
I was literally scared. They would pull it out and I'd be like, oh, I'd be in the closet. Those things are fucking disgusting. And when they're fucking raw, like, get away.
No, I'm
when
sorry.
They're raw.
I'm sorry. But dicks, I swear it's like drinking wine. You have to ease into it. You have to mature into it.
It's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste. I swear
it's because they're so weird. It's like they shrink when it's cold. They get in the water suddenly. It's not even a dick anymore. Dicks? Like, what is it?
It's doing? Like having a hamster.
Sometimes I just poke it. I'm like, what is it? Is it a boy? Like,
honestly, there's something about dicks that used to gross me the fuck out.
I know, but I feel like until I started really learning how to give a blowjob, that's when I enjoyed it. Like, you don't enjoy anything that you're not good at, right? So I feel like at the beginning when I started giving them, I was like, hey, what am I doing? Is this a disco ball? Like, there's a lot. I feel like I was going too fast when I was young.
I mean, I think we're just dumb and we're just trying to say, ugh. But if I could go back now and watch myself give my first blowjob, I would slap myself.
Well, just watch your camera where you keep them.
No, I wish I could slap myself in the face.
Guys,
but I think
I edited last week's video for the podcast, and Veronica gave me her MP3 stick and her MP3 stick
memory card.
Speaking of disco sticks, she gave me her what is it called?
Memory card.
And when she gave it to me, I went, should I be expecting anything else on here? And she's like, no, we're good.
You know that you're gonna see a secret file called "Do Not Open."
Oh my god!
I just want to say, because I tried to say this story at the beginning of the podcast and you cut me off and went into a whole nother story. What I was saying is, it's so fun to have a boyfriend because they get something new and it also becomes something that's new for you. So my boyfriend got this new sweater and I literally got it yesterday, and I said, babe, can I wear it for the podcast? And he was like, here. And I'm like, it must be crazy to be a boy. Like, you can't have anything realistically. It's all mine.
What's mine is mine, and what's yours is also mine. And that's just the motto.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. That is exactly what it is.
But yeah, let's talk about a little bit. Holy.
My eyes are crying. Don't cry. Sweater so much.
Don't cry because you don't give a good blowjob.
No, I feel like I have to defend myself. Yeah, I taught you. Okay, whoa. Like, before people think we were in a room and I was saying,
banana. This is the banana.
I think banana is probably the worst thing you could. Did you ever practice giving a blowjob?
No.
Me neither. But did you ever practice kissing? Because I have kissed my pillow and my mirror and my hand.
How can you do that?
You've never practiced kissing?
No.
When you're like 13?
No.
And you're like, what if I kiss a boy at the school dance?
No.
I need to know. And you'd be like,
no. I've only put on red lipstick and kissed an envelope, but I mean, if that counts.
No, I've kissed my mirror. I've kissed my hands, like, to see. Maybe that's why I'm such an amazing kisser, because I had all this practice.
Let me tell you, the practice only comes once you get real experience. When you go out in the world and you start kissing.
No schooling.
Frogs. Yeah.
When was your first kiss?
Maybe when I was like 15.
15?
Mm-hmm. Is that late?
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry if you're listening if you had a kiss after 15. Like, I don't know. I think
Maybe,
I was like 12.
Maybe it was like 14. No, I think I was 15.
Well,
I'm not
the
gonna,
1
like,
year's not going to kill you.
feel pressure now and start lying about the age I fucking kissed somebody.
I feel like 15, though, is...
How old
You're
am I
almost
now?
out of high school at that point.
Okay.
You're like, I was a prude.
Yeah.
I lived on Prude Street.
Yeah. With Prudential as my street name.
No, I remember my first kiss was like one of my first boyfriends, and I must have been like 12, and it was literally a peck. Like it was and it was the end of the day. Like at school, we were like,
You ran home. You ran home with butterflies. You went.
Ugh.
All this practice came to.
oh my god! And you know what his name was? Josh.
Listen.
How the
bitch.
tables have turned. You're like, I hope it wasn't my Josh.
Josh is a hot name.
I guess I'll tell him 12-year-old my first kiss. But it was like the school buses, and it was like the end of the day, and we held hands, and he was like, okay, bye. And I was like, bye. And then we were like,
Who leaned in?
and I don't remember. Do you think I can remember that? I can't remember my last name.
Well, the fact that you even remember.
But all I can think about is the teachers watching us and just going, these fucking losers. You're 12. Like, what do you think? You think you're going to marry him? Like, you're going to go home and write in your journal hearts?
I wonder what those teachers were thinking.
Ugh. If I would be a high school teacher, I would slap the kids in the face.
Wow, so
I
she's
slap a lot of
not
people.
going to be a high school teacher, let me tell you.
No, I could never.
I would be like, oh my god, that's so cute.
Ew. I would be like, bitch, you're not going to
I'm going to get famous off TikTok just taking videos of that. Not a bad idea. But switching topics, I did want to speak about being in a relationship, how to keep it going good and
Keep it alive. Keep it
alive,
fresh.
keep it fresh. So for anybody who's not in a relationship, you could turn it off now. I'm kidding.
Literally, this episode we said, look, if you're single, clock out. This one's not for you.
No, at all.
I feel like we made so many videos directed towards single people though, which we are not. So at least the relationship people get a little bit of juice out of this one.
Yeah. So what would you say is something that you and your boyfriend do to keep, the romance still flowing?
Yeah, well, I think especially that we've been in like quarantine for so long, and that there's all these restrictions and there's not a lot of things you could do. I think it's so important. If any time, I think you should always do things to keep the relationship alive. But I think
Examples.
and like also keep the attraction alive, because at the end of the day, when there's no more attraction, that's where the relationship starts to go down. If you're no longer attracted to the person that you're with. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of things that you have to do to keep that there, like to keep it safe.
Yeah.
And especially in a time like...
It's work.
Yeah, it's actual work. And especially in a time with quarantine where, you can't go out for dinners and stuff like that. Like, it's even more important to take these tips and like apply them to your life while you're in quarantine, because that's what's going to make that's what's gonna fuel the relationship to keep going. That's what's gonna make you guys still be attracted to each other.
And I'm sure like a lot of people, if you are living with your boyfriend or whatever, a lot of people are working from home right now and stuff. So normally you guys are both at home, both working at home or not working, depending on the whole situation with COVID. But so you're always like kind of breathing down each other's throats.
I mean, there's just not a lot of time away.
Yeah, and the restaurants are closed. So in normal times, I would say restaurants, going out, dressing up, just so that you can go out, and even just going out, dressing up, and like seeing like another guy stare at your girlfriend, and like that whole like tension of knowing like, wow, I have a prize. Like it really is psychological, but it really is something that I feel
it's not something that you consciously think, but I think to walk in a room and feel good and feel like, you guys look good and you have that idea of like, okay, people are checking out your girlfriend.
Like I know
or
for
boyfriend.
me, like speaking as a girl, like when I would go out for dinner with my boyfriend and girls would stare at my boyfriend, I'd be like, oh right, I'm with him, like it's just like a ego boost, and also like a reminder that like, he's yours. And
I mean, so I think there's some bitches that would beat you up, but no, I mean, I think there's some girls who don't like that at all. They don't like when girls stare at their boyfriend. Well, but I do understand.
For me, like I like it. It's like letting me know that okay, I got a snack.
Yeah.
But now the quarantine, you can't. I think like even just doing dinner at home and treating it like you're going out, you know, dress up. Because if you're looking like a rat all day working, you guys are like losing the, what do you call it?
Attraction.
The
really.
attraction.
I just think,
taking care of yourself is so important.
when you like don't, obviously I'm not saying put on makeup every day if you're staying home, but if you don't feel good, like if you don't feel like you look good, then obviously like your energy is off. So I think it's really important, especially in quarantine, to just
do date
shower,
nights.
do your makeup, dress in a cute outfit, and like hang out. And even if it's to do nothing, and this, I'm not talking about like this on a regular day, I'm saying like literally quarantine, just like make yourself feel good, because that's important. Like if you guys are always in pajamas, like gross, and there's no like, you know, that like fresh feeling where you're like, oh my God,
I know
like
some people are gonna say, well, that's not my style to dress hot and stuff, and sweatpants is your thing. Okay, so if sweatpants is your thing, then put some makeup on, do a little something more than what you would normally do, that your boyfriend will look at it and be like, oh wow, like she's trying. Or it's just,
I think it's important.
healthy.
Like I think at a certain point you get past that stage of like, you know, when you first start dating somebody, it's like you're literally putting on makeup and you're sleeping with your makeup and you're waking up. I don't think it has to be like that.
No.
I think there's a certain,
it could be twice a week, once a week. It could just be like a date night. It doesn't have to be all the time.
but I think there's a certain attraction in having somebody be themselves and take off their makeup and be like, there's also an attraction there where it's like you're raw, like you're cozy, like that's nice too. But I just think, you know, smelling good and looking good and being fresh, it's like you have that like, oh wow, like come here, you smell so good, or you look so good, or oh my God, you did your hair, like come here. Like I think it's really important just to like remind your boyfriend or girlfriend that like you actually are not taking them for granted and you want to look good for them, because obviously it's not all about physical looks and stuff, but I think when you put effort into yourself, it shows to the people around you. Like if your nails are always fucked up, your hair is always fucked up, like it just shows you don't care about the way you look, and like you're not really like taking pride in yourself. And then how do you want somebody to be like attracted to you, you
Like,
know, if
that's
you
my
don't even
prize.
care about yourself?
Yeah,
like
for sure. What would you say is another thing?
well, I think definitely like that's a big, definitely main one. I also think a big thing is to just like not, and I'm not saying you have to do this all the time, but it's something that keeps you on your toes, and it's to just like every now and again, like just kind of have a little surprise, like whatever it is, you know. Sometimes I come home,
they thought about that you might have needed, like
it's not
just
even
show up with it.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I'll come home
thought
and
that counts.
I'm having like such a long day, and I'm just like, oh, what do you want to eat for dinner? And my brother's like, oh, I don't know what I want to eat, and I'm like, okay, let me know, think about it once I get home, then we'll, you know what I mean? And he could tell that I'm rushed. It's like there's been times where I literally come home and like dinner is on the table, like he ordered something, he set it all up nice, cute, and there's no particular reason why, but it's just like such a nice like
Effort. It's the
and
effort.
it's such a nice effort. It's such a nice surprise. It's like,
Why am I dead that I thought for a second you would say he cooked me a nice meal?
nope.
Such a nice gesture. He clicked
Ordered.
that order eats button. Gentleman.
Absolute chef. I mean, listen, I also don't have unrealistic standards. I know
those are
he's
realistic standards for me. So thank
for you. You're expecting a 5-course meal instead of a 3.
Guys, my boyfriend has what do you call it when you
Chef syndrome.
chef syndrome, and like he likes to cook, but he also is so like ADD, and he doesn't want me cleaning in the kitchen because his knives have to go a certain way. So guys, I don't want to say that I'm
Your bra's out.
chilling and then my bra's out, but let me tell you,
You
it's a
sit back and you say,
great-
"Babe, when is it ready?"
I watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians and I say, how long?
Literally.
And I get pissed if it's over 5 minutes.
Literally. He's in the kitchen
Cooking.
slaving away while you're, oh, I love this episode.
Yeah.
Did you see this
But
yet?
you know what? Sometimes it makes me mad because I'm like, I could cook,
Yeah.
and I do want to go in the kitchen. And sometimes I feel like it depends his days. Sometimes he's like, okay, go and make a storm. But he's always like watching over me, and I hate that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
but-
I would definitely feel insecure if my boyfriend was a fucking chef. I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, calm down.
But I still think in some things I cook better than him.
Yeah.
Don't at me though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say Italian.
He normally says, well, baking is something I'm not good at, so you could do the baking. It's like, no, actually, let me make my recipes that I fucking know how to make. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think doing little surprises is so
Yeah.
important.
And
Like,
I also think not always planning things with them. Like, I know for me, like, I always have girls' nights. So making sure to just, like, plan with your girlfriends. Don't just get a boyfriend and then say, he's my world, he's my everything. Because at the end of the day, if shit hits the fan or whatever, you always have your girlfriends. They're the ones that you're going to gossip with. Realistically, guys don't like to gossip. They don't like that shit. So to get that, like, fun, I find you need, like, your friends for that. And that's why there's certain people in your life for different reasons. And I think having, like, a girlfriend night or whatever once a week, you know, you're missing him, but you're also having fun.
I just think that it's nice, especially when you live with somebody, to just like have that little bit of time away from them that's not having to do with like going to work. Like, going to work is one thing. Obviously, everybody has to go to work. Like, you're not actually spending time outside of them. Like, being in another atmosphere, having fun without them. Because once you can do that, like, you get new experiences and, like, you have a good time. And then you're, like, really excited to come back and tell them about what happened and tell them about, like, stories, which I think is another really good thing to keep the relationship alive is, like, don't always rush to tell them everything that's happening. I think that's my problem a lot. Like, I call my boyfriend literally 67 times a day. I'm like, oh my God, like, I just got Starbucks and they forgot to put sugar. Hee hee. And he's like, okay, bye.
Oh my God, really?
But, like, I know that that's my problem. I just, like, I'm really, like, I'm always calling. I'm always texting. And I'm always really excited.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm just like, okay, let me keep this information inside me. Let me break.
And then you want to say later and you forget. So
literally. Like collect it inside you and just remember, and then it's like once you come home
you have so much to speak about.
Yeah, you guys can actually
I think that even goes for people who are recently talking to someone or like dating. You don't want to over the text tell them too much. Get to know them before you even went on your first date, and you guys can speak about all that in person. Keep always some mystery to yourself, to you, like
keep mystery. But I just also think, like, don't always, like, be in contact 24/7. Like, think of things to say and then have, like, meaningful conversations. Because if you talk all day, by the time
you're like,
see
oh,
them,
like, I just want to get off the phone.
But it's like by the time you see them, you don't really have anything to talk about because you already summed up your whole day to them before you even got home. And it's on the phone. So, like, you know, take your time with the things you want to share with them. And like, it's more exciting to have conversations in person.
I feel like that's one problem I definitely had with my boyfriend in the past, where it's like, I know this is weird, but I don't know if any big girl could relate. I'm some days more needier than others. Like, some days I'm like, I'm good on my own. I'm doing a million things. It's almost when I'm not doing anything or I'm not focusing on anything that's when I'm really like, I tend to be calling him a lot, or I'm always like, well, what are you doing? And it's like, it's always the same conversation and it's annoying, but I'm like so like bored or not doing anything with me that I'm like relying on him or something, you know? And that's why I think like picking up new hobbies too is super important. Like figuring out things that you've always wanted to do, write a list, and like and then just work on them. So like at the same time you're fulfilling yourself. And this way when you fulfill yourself, you're happy with yourself. And then once you're happy with yourself, like you're ready to like meet someone, or you're ready to give yourself 100% to someone. But if you're unhappy with yourself and things that you have to do, and you're only focusing on your boyfriend and doing things with him, then you're never ever ever gonna be fulfilled, and your insecurities are gonna latch out on him, and you're gonna find yourself being angry, and you're gonna like you're gonna hate them and resent them for it. And I've actually been there, and it's really like it's crazy,
because you really have to have projects that you can like work on and be excited about, and like I said, it ties into having stuff to talk about. Like if your only things that you do are with your boyfriend and are work, and that's it, like you don't have anything outside of that to talk with your boyfriend and relate and like to have passion in, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to hear you talk about something passionately. Like it's actually attractive. Like so for a guy or girl, like your girlfriend or boyfriend, and they get to sit and hear you basically talk about something that you really love, you're really excited about, like that's attractive for them. You know what I mean? To know that you're not just like focused on them, because somebody being too much on you, you almost feel like, you know, like you don't have time to like get lost in the moments of just like enjoying who they are, because it's always about you. It's always about the relationship. It's always about this. Like, I think it's really important to remember that, you know, as much as you get close with somebody and as much as you want to like live a life beside them, you also have to understand that like how attraction works and how relationships work. And attraction fuels off of interest. And if it, my boyfriend just farted.
I don't know if that was a fart or a burp. We definitely got that on.
My boyfriend just farted and
left the
interrupted
room.
me. So thanks for interrupting my train of thought. Guys, that's step 0 of what not to do.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I just think basically keeping the attraction alive, not farting in front of each other, no, I'm joking, is being able to balance exactly that. So like, you know, being able to balance what you're comfortable with and also things that are like enticing for somebody to know about you. You know what I mean? Like keeping a little bit of like fun and excitement, because that's attractive. So if everything is always the same and there's no new things to talk about and you guys are just too comfortable with each other,
and
like,
I think
your attraction is gonna go down.
And I think the main things and the reason why so many couples get into arguments and they're fighting is normally when you're, okay, not all the time, but when you're normally unhappy with yourself. It's crazy, but like being unhappy with yourself, the way it could affect how you are with your friendships, how you are with everything, is like the second you literally work on yourself, everything becomes so much clearer. It's really insane. And I was watching this, I was listening to this podcast, maybe we'll link it down below if I find it, but she was talking about how being independent and like, a lot of people say like you need someone, like people say like, oh, that person's my other half, and like she literally states, she's like, nobody is actually your other half. Like for you, you are your full. You're like, for you to be happy, you need to fulfill yourself completely. And I'm like, wow, like I never looked at it that way. Like she's like, people go awfully into relationships and they think that they need that extra something to fulfill them or that thing that makes them happy. But she's like, truth is, when you're fully fulfilled, that's when you actually realize you don't need anybody, and that's when you find somebody. And I was like, wow, this girl is so interesting. And then she was also saying how she was married twice and her first marriage didn't work, and her vows the second time were like, I'm gonna try and remember exactly what she said, but anyway, like just a bit of it. She was like, when I married my second husband, in my vows, I said, I love you so much. I can't promise you forever. She's like, I can't promise you forever. I will try and work my absolute hardest to work on our relationship and be together forever. But I can't promise you that. I know I love you. I know I will work on it. And this, she's like, because it's way better to be like that and be like, okay, because she's like, you never know, like people grow with years so differently, and to be able to say like, yeah, that's my forever person, she's like, normally when you grow, you don't always adapt and grow together. Somebody either grows more, somebody grows less. So to be more like realistic about things and be like, I know I love you and I know I want to work on it, but to sit there and be like, you're my other half and I'm gonna end up with you, she's like, there's a word for it, but it's not coming. Yeah, I guess.
I think the first part of, like, I think the biggest thing of keeping a relationship alive is as soon as you understand that a relationship is actually work. So what she's saying of being like, I will literally work my hardest, that's a successful relationship. I think as soon as you start relying on the spark and love and that to make your relationship last, I promise you it won't last.
Looks doesn't last. Like nothing lasts.
The spark and love is that initial infatuation. But once that's gone, you have a relationship and it's a mutual understanding that you guys are going to work to keep it alive. And I'm sorry, but love doesn't solve all your problems. It doesn't mean that you guys aren't going to fight. It doesn't mean you guys aren't going to disagree. Love can be there, but these problems can still happen. And it's up to you to put in the work and actually make it work. Love is only the seed that starts the relationship. It doesn't mean that it's going to keep going. There's no amount of love that'll promise forever because that's not how it works. It's the amount of like how motivated you are to make the relationship work, how much you try to make the relationship work. I think that's what's the most important, and especially keeping your relationship alive. Like even just asking the question, like, what could I do to keep the relationship alive? That's a great question, because a lot of people just think, oh, well, if the relationship dies out, then it wasn't meant to be. But that's so not true. Like at the end of the day, people make relationships work, and that's why they last. because they're actually trying in themselves. They're working to do it. They're finding the time to hang out. They're finding the time to make dates and look good and feel pretty and make their other, have the special time to have quality time.
Surprise them with little gifts.
It's work. It's actually work. It doesn't come naturally. You know what I mean? You have to think it through. So I think it's so important to make a relationship last is to understand that you have to put in work.
Yeah.
I actually had another one that I wanted to say, and it's kind of like controversial. I don't want to say controversial, but
go for it.
I would say to keep the attraction alive, I think you can never take I don't want to say that you should always be worried that your boyfriend is going to leave you. That's not what I mean by this, but
you should act as if
sure that they're going to stay with you, because at the end of the day, they could leave you. They could wake up tomorrow and not love you anymore. So if you act in your relationship as if you just take them for granted and you know they're never going to leave you and you know you guys are together forever, that's you can't have a relationship like that. You should always be a little bit afraid of losing them. Do you know what I mean? Just that little bit, just to drive
I agree
the
with
relationship. That. I think it makes
that.
you more attracted to the person.
Right.
When you know that, there's maybe that 2% chance that you might lose them,
Yeah.
2%. It's a low number.
But I know this might be also controversial, but I listened to another podcast and they were saying that in a relationship, there's always one that loves one more than the other. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Hold
I
on.
agree.
One that always loves a little more than the other, and the one that loves least is always the one that controls the relationship. And it's true. It makes sense.
It's true, but I also believe that it ebbs and flows. So
yeah, it could definitely switch.
I think that throughout a relationship, and I think you can even feel it, when you're, you know what I mean? I think there are definitely times where it's you're feeling like you love more, and then you feel like they love more, and then, you know what I mean? It's really up and down, and it depends at what point you are in your life. Sometimes you don't have a job and they have a job. And obviously, when you're so focused on them, you tend to be like, oh, I'm the one who loves more. You feel like you love more because you're so invested. But then something new comes along and you're more distracted and you have more time to focus on yourself.
It's so true.
And then the balance. So it's always an equilibrium. And that's what life is. It's like a balance of good and bad. So if one loves more, then one has to love less. You can't both love each other more. Somebody has to love less. So it always balances out. And I think that's healthy. I think you should have times where, I think if you always feel like you love less,
that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
And if you always feel like you love more, that's also a problem. But I think as a relationship goes and progresses and everything, it's there's always situations where, for months or weeks or whatever, you feel like maybe you love more. And I think it's part of a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
I think you have to
I definitely think
be on both
it
sides.
always, and sometimes it floats around for sure. But I also do think that there's relationships where it's very clear where somebody loves more and somebody's in control.
Yeah. And I think to have that higher upper hand in the relationship that's the person. I think the person who loves less is always the person who will be the easiest to leave the relationship, because they're in control and they know that the other person is never going to leave. So they'll do whatever the fuck they want. And if they leave, they leave. You know what I mean? You have that. You have basically the relationship by the balls. You know
basically.
what I mean?
And another one I definitely would say is start fights with your fucking boyfriend. You know how much time that is for things to do? Arguing is so much fun. There's so much excitement in that. Babe, let's talk about it. That's a plan. You guys got to talk about it. It's a whole night. Schedule it in.
Fight. I definitely think. Do you think fighting is bad?
I honestly think it's needed.
I think you should fight. I
think you should. I think there's certain things that shouldn't happen, but I think if it's a healthy fight.
I think every once in a while we all start a fight because we're grumpy and we want to take our anger out. And we say, why'd you have to do that?
Yeah.
But I do think showing that you're mad about something is good. If you're never fighting, it's a bit and obviously I'm not talking about there's different levels to fights. You can disagree, that's fine. But if you never have disagreements and there's always just somebody saying sorry and that's it, it's well, no, you should be also finding problems. A relationship,
it's both ways.
I
I just feel sometimes what happens, or like, people don't like to take accountability for what they do wrong. And normally the weakest link is always the one to just take the fall for everything. And I just think that you have to know where you're like, okay, this is my problem and this is what I need to work on, but this is also what you need to work on. And you have to understand that if one person is always like, well, no, I didn't do anything wrong, then like, fuck him and leave him. Because like, I'm sorry, if you're...
Fuck him and leave him. Oh my God.
No, but if somebody's never able to take like action for what they've done, then I think it's way easier for somebody who's like, okay, I know my fault and let me work on it.
Yeah.
Normally when they say they'll work on it, it goes back to normal after fucking 7 minutes. But it's the thought that counts.
I mean, the first step is
being accountable and saying, that is something I did.
You're right.
Yeah.
I am doing this wrong. And I think that's definitely the first step. And you probably have to have the same fight like 62 times for them to realize that they actually
men need to hear something like 70 times for it to sink in their brain once.
And they're still gonna, next time you fight about it, they're gonna be like, it's cause babe, like, cause this time it's like I was trying and you're like, shut up.
Yeah. And girls, what we use is we cry. That's our weapon. We cry to be like, you hurt me more. I'm hurt. You're not crying.
I use crying as the ultimate weapon. And I have to blame my ex-boyfriend for that. So I'm sorry if you're listening to this.
Already she hasn't grown as a person. She's still blaming her shit on other people.
I definitely learned this tactic from him because I definitely learned how to fight from him because he was definitely like a real... Oh my God, I'm pulling out fists.
Oh my God. I mean, like, let's not get another fight. I'm scared.
Like, we would get into these fights and he was the type of person where you couldn't talk to him when you were fighting, you know? So my last resort was always to cry. And I'm really not a crier. But I knew that if I would start crying, I would win the fight. And he would like... It's not that I would win the fight, but I knew that if I started crying, he would like stop and calm down and listen to me. So literally, towards the end of our relationship, we would start a fight and I'd be like...
And you took that with you.
But at a certain point, he was like, listen, bitch, wipe your fucking tears. We're fighting about this.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh. But I think still now to this day, like, I'm not as much of a cry. Like, with my boyfriend now, we don't fight that much.
Yeah.
But I still think deep down, it's still my weapon of when I'm like, just want to be heard and I just want them to understand, I just cry. Yeah. Because I'm like, I know they'll feel bad.
Yeah. But I think everything we're talking about seems so easy and but it's really not. And like, our brain is like the strongest thing and the most like the hardest thing to almost control because every day we have so many thoughts that go through our head and like controlling that is actually the hardest thing. And like you could say what you want, you could say, yeah, don't think those thoughts, like it's really, really hard. And I think like a lot of people say like that's why I meditate and stuff to really like
condition your mind.
Because the thing is you have a thought, that thought could be nothing but you know, it happens and then it changes your whole entire mood and then that mood affects your whole day. And it's like, it's really important to like feed your brain with like good stuff, eat well.
Yeah.
All of it. It all goes together, honestly. All the things that I'm not doing, by the way. So hopefully somebody takes something from this.
It's not us, but hopefully you guys can learn.
But eat well, meditate. And also like you have to love yourself and really, even your insecurities, you really have to be like, because the thing is, insecurities is like the number one thing that like eats at somebody and everybody has them. And like, I know I'm still working on it. Like there's so many things that I'm insecure about that I'm like, I really need to work on it. And like, because if I'm so insecure about it, then it makes me think like, why does that person want to be with me? And this and that. It's like a chain reaction that's just honestly disgusting.
Yeah. And insecurities bring out the worst in you. So if you're insecure about yourself, then you're like, oh my God, he's going to go for another girl. And then you start
who's hotter than me?
And
who's
then
this?
You start comparing. And it's all like a recipe of how not to keep a relationship going.
Yeah.
So like literally all the keys come within yourself. Like obviously you could do all these tips and tricks of, you know, have a dinner, plan a dinner and all this, but really if you don't,
it all comes down to your mind, loving yourself. And
if you're not in the mindset to be like having positivity, then you're way is the relationship gonna last.
And even the therapist, like I was watching this podcast and she was saying like,
podcast did you fucking watch?
Oh my God, I've been watching so many lately. I'm really into podcasts these days. Can you tell?
Oh, we fucking started one.
I know. It's like the only one I'm not watching is the Chemical X one.
I could say the same.
But she was saying like past traumas, experiences, these are all the things that affect everything, and the way, like, was it a childhood thing that happened, was it something that happened with your parents, like everything is linked. And it's really crazy. It's so far down the line that sometimes we don't even think like, oh my god, that's why I react the same way.
Remember what it is that made you that certain way.
I feel like we just had therapy right now.
Oh my god, who's the therapist, me or you?
You. I'm just letting out everything.
You just said I heard a podcast. I guess she was your therapist and now I'm the therapist. I don't know.
Basically.
But I totally agree. I think everything is linked. And I think that, I think the key to everything is your mind and positivity and controlling your thoughts, because...
Which is fucking the hardest thing.
You know what I mean? Like, let's say you even take our advice, just as the perfect example of how powerful your mind is. If all you're thinking about is how do I keep the attraction alive... You're putting in already a vibe that you have this desperation to save your relationship.
Yeah.
That maybe doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
So now you're thinking, oh my God, what can I do? And your whole life is focusing on how to keep the attraction alive.
Yeah.
You don't actually have time to just enjoy your relationship and the attraction that already exists.
That's why it's
all about your mind. It's all about controlling your thoughts and making them positive and
another thing I will say to end this is confidence. I know we've spoken about confidence in the past, and I know we've said like fake it till you make it with confidence, but I almost want to go back on that because I'm like, I feel like a lot of people sometimes are super confident and they're not actually confident in their skin. They're faking it. And I think working on it, I'm still working on it, is like really being confident in yourself, because the second you project that, being the hottest person in the room doesn't even matter.
Guys,
if you see that girl,
be confident. Alessia.
Literally.
Just be confident.
No, but I'm telling you, when you apply all these things and work on yourself and be happy with the job you're doing and everything, you're going to find in yourself that you're more confident. Then you're going to go on and you're going to be like, ew, that guy's so not for me. Like, you're almost so confident that you're going to project everything amazing into your life, whether it be the guy, the job, everything. But being confident is so important. And I would say fake it till you make it, but almost like more than fake it till you make it.
Actually try.
No, make it happen. Fuck.
Like, fake it a little bit, but also try. I mean, I think that, like, I always talk about how, I always make jokes about how I'm so confident, but it's definitely a road. Like, I started off my... like as a teenager, like, or like even younger than that, like 11, 12, 13, like super insecure, and meeting me now, you would never think that I ever had an insecure moment in my life, but like I was horribly insecure, so not confident. But like, it's such a road. Like, you can't just look at somebody and be like, huh, they're so confident, but they're already there. It's like, it's all a road. Like, nobody just... It lives and is confident. It actually works.
And sometimes I think about it, I'm like, wow, I'm actually 24 years old and I'm still working on being confident. Like, how am I gonna, when I get older, how am I gonna be even more, like, I hope that the older I get more confident. But then I think about like how, wow, like you age and then looks isn't a thing. And then like, how do you still...
Because when you master confidence, you realize that it's not about how you look.
Right.
You realize that...
Yeah.
Confidence is not doing all the surgeries in the world and becoming perfect and then being like, okay, I'm confident now. No. That's not
the people who do all the surgeries in the world and keep doing it are normally the ones who are still...
But I'm saying, like,
not confident.
I have nothing against surgeries because I do think that it can have a really big impact on your confidence.
Yeah.
Little things.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if your road to confidence is fixing every imperfection about you, that has nothing to do with confidence. You're still insecure. Because confidence is about loving yourself for who you are and embracing all the things that you're insecure about and actually loving them. So the more you get older, like, you're just going to have that confidence in you to love how you are and feel beautiful no matter what you look like.
Yeah.
Like, that's true confidence. You don't need to be a 10 out of 10 to be confident. You could be a 1 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really about feeling good in yourself and being like...
Yeah. So I have a question for you, since I'm still on that road. Well, I think everybody still sometimes is on that road, but... let's say like I'll go through a stage where I'm like, okay, I'm confident. And then I start to be like not confident because something happens or somebody says something. And then I start to go down this whole wagon. What would you say is like a tip? You're like, are you quizzing me? To like get back there.
I think it's just about like having willpower. I think with anything in your life, like, you work to get a certain place And then it's just like having the willpower and like the strength to keep that up. So obviously the easy thing to do is to just be insecure and get in your head and overthink. Like, it's actually the easy way. But the hard way is to be like, no, like, I am beautiful. I am this. I fuck what this person said. Forget about it. Like, it's just remembering all the things you taught yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's something that, you know, is taught to you, whether you're like battling an addiction or battling anything that like is negative in your life. You have to like remember the steps that you took to get where you are and just live them easily. Just think about it. Like, you know, you just go back and you just be like, okay, these are the key things. This is why I'm doing this. And then you have the strength to like, continue
I read
being
this
confident.
book that was like saying how you have to like actually look at yourself in the mirror once a day and stare at yourself and be like, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. Even if you don't and you're feeling really, you look at yourself in the mirror and you almost keep saying it to yourself until you start to believe it. And I was like, wow.
Well, it's
I'll start
true.
on Monday.
I read this thing that if you, and it sounds really weird and it sounds really fucked up, but if you fake a smile, you're actually, even though you're faking the smile and you're not actually happy, you're sending signals to your brain that you are happy. So automatically,
And to the universe.
you're like releasing like serotonin or whatever, and like you actually by fake smiling become a little bit happier. So I think it's the same idea of just like looking at yourself, and even if maybe you don't actually feel like you're beautiful, telling yourself, it almost makes it more real because you said it out loud.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's really important with, I mean, I'm fucking conceited. I go around all day saying I'm the hottest person in the world. So maybe I could dial it back a little bit and maybe have some confidence to lose.
But you don't feel like sometimes like you portray that and you're not fully that, like, because I think like sometimes we overdo it too, where it's like,
I think it's also my personality where I'm like, I'm so fucking hot, but that's not actually truly how I feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you can be, and I think growing up, that's what I really realized about myself is I was very cocky, but I was very insecure. I was super, you could say confident. I would walk in a room and I would look like I didn't give a fuck, but I was super insecure. So I think like it's really, you know, it's not always what you portray. Like we say, fake it till you make it. It's once you start actually feeling it, that's a different story. You know what I mean? Anybody could go around and say I'm so hot. It doesn't make you actually feel that on the inside, you know? So, but it's definitely a step to go around.
For sure.
You know, I know there was definitely a time in my life where I would never be caught dead saying I'm so hot in front of other people, because I'll be like, they're gonna laugh at me, they're gonna be like, can this girl think she's hot?
Well, I think like, even in today's society, like we see a girl like we think if a girl writes on her own picture, writes something and be like, oh my god, I'm so beautiful, people are like, what the fuck is wrong with her? Like, is she joking, calling herself beautiful? But it's like, no, she's actually healthier than us all.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's hilarious because people are always like, be confident. Don't be insecure.
Yeah.
Guys are the first person to be like, oh, I don't like a girl who's insecure. But they're also the first person to start going, oh, why is she like acting like she's so hot? Like, why does she think she's like top shit? It's like, no.
I'm going to end it with this. We literally are going to be stuck with ourselves forever. So we have to treat ourselves nicely. We have to be good to ourselves.
Yeah, you only get one body.
We only get one body, one us. So just might as well make the best of it and love yourself for who you are.
Yeah, and also keep your relationship alive.
And work on it.
Yeah.
Peace.
See ya.